Hopefully this works. Do it. Right time. Testing. Let's see if this works. YubTub. Go to my channel. Do I have sound? Yep, I do. Okay, cool. All right, let's turn on the light. Hey, we've got light. Hey, what's up, TD? Welcome back. Oh, I know I'm a little later than I wanted to be tonight, but it's it is what it is. Hold on just a second. I'm clearing a couple things off, and then I'm going to get started on flattening out this other cutting board. Throw some stuff away. Make some space. Oh, it's been warm during the day, and now it's cold at night. And hey, what's up, Woodshed? What's up, Keith? Welcome. I'm glad you guys were able to pop on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to engrave this tonight, I think, with the custom bit. Let me pull up my email here. So it's actually kind of funny. Let's see here. So yeah, so for TD, he sent me a picture. Maybe I'll start with that. I'll get that going on the laser. We'll see how long it takes. Might do that first tonight, but I'll show you guys the process of that to get that going on the laser, and then flatten out the board over there, which I got to get sent out. So yeah, let's see what happens here. Let's see the email for your wife's logo. Okay, that's cool. So I'm going to turn that logo into. Let me download it. What happened here? Oh, there it is. Yeah, fuck being a princess. I like it. So, oops. Let's copy that image. I'll open up Lightburn and paste it into Lightburn, and then we'll play with it. Okay. So we can do that for sure. So I can't really see my screen per se. Let's see here. Can you guys see this? I wish I could like share the screen. I can't really do that while I'm using my phone as a camera. I don't know how to do that anyway. I'm sure there's a way to do it. But I can sit in my stool here. You guys can hopefully see what I'm doing. And I can pop over to live here every now and then. Not a princess by any means. Yeah, my wife's not a princess either. So I'll show you guys the process of how I do that on my laser. And take an image like that. Hey, what's up, Nova? If I don't say hello to someone new that pops in, I apologize because I'm going to be switching back and forth between screens. I'm going to try to pop in and see who's here. And anyway, yeah, we'll see how this goes tonight. So let's see here. Oop, I need to like my own video. Boop, there we go. And I'll tab it. Oop, nope. Let's alt tab to this. All right, so in Lightburn, I just copy and pasted the image. And one thing I really like about, can I do that as a, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's just try tracing the image first. Actually, let's adjust the image. Excuse me. Now let's try tracing the image first. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, I don't like that. So I could get some of it, but not all of it. Let's see if I can make this bigger. There we go. Like it gets some of it, some of the detail and whatnot, but not all of it by default. So we can change the cutoff. We increase the cutoff a bit. No, I don't really like what that does either. If I had a vector file of this, it would work a little bit better. But let's see what happens here. So there's some weird stuff going on here as far as the because of the gradient in there. But let's see what happens if I now, and some of this detail's gone too. Let's do a sketch trace. So I can turn let's turn this way down, the threshold. And now it's slowly bring it back up and see what happens here. So you just got to play with these sliders a bit. Like I'm not well versed enough in Lightburn to know exactly what each one, like how to make them work to my advantage. Oh, I don't like that. It's gonna leave a lot of randomness going on there. So let's not do a sketch trace. I don't want to do that. So if I turn everything up, turn the cutoff down a little bit, and sketch trace down a little bit. No, I really don't like what that's doing there. So, ooh, well. We can do it as a raster image. Let's close that. Let's open this up in Inkscape and cut some of this stuff out. And then I might be able to take this and do it as a Jarvis and see what happens there. Yeah, that's a pretty cool logo. I like that. Hey, Woodshed, by the way. Welcome, welcome. So let's see here. We can open that up in Lightburn and see if we can't cut some stuff out. I'll do a new document. What is this? All right, let us paste that there. Okay, so we have it in there. Control middle mouse, the wheel lets us zoom. So if I take this, I think I can cut some of this out. Boy, I'm not very good with Inkscape. Ooh, if I do, no, okay, that doesn't do it. Ooh, rectangle tool. I know there's a way I can clip out. Set clip. Okay, let's do that. Let's set this as a clip. Didn't do what I wanted it to do. Okay. No, I didn't do it. Excuse me. Let's set a clip here. I think. Oops. I do no, because that clipped something weird. Let's just Control Z this a bunch of times. All right. Let's paste this back in here. Let us clip it. Okay. Let's export that and see what happens. I want to do it as an SVG. Export it. Bitmap SVG. Okay, so yours is me. Bitmap. So let's get rid of this. Right here. Let's bring in shoot. What did that save that as? Bitmap. Okay, so it's right there. Oh, there it is, right there. No, it still didn't do it. And I don't think I can cut. Well, actually, I might be able to cut this out. Let's try this. And then trim this out. No, that doesn't work because it's not the same file type. I'm going to have to mess with that to get that to work. To be able to cut this stuff, unless I can get just this and not a screenshot of a phone. If I can get just the file, then I can play with it. So yeah, I can't. I'm not good enough with Inkscape to make that work. I know it can be done, but I'd have to look it up to see how to do that. Hey, no problem, Woodshed. Hey, have a good night. I'm glad you stopped by. Appreciate it. Get some sleep. I know I should probably be going to bed soon, but it's not going to happen. So if you can get me a copy of just the logo, even better is if it's a vector file, then I can work with that. So if it's an SVG or a DXF or something like that, I can work with that a little bit better to get that engraved. I'd have to watch a couple of YouTube videos to figure out how to cut out pieces of that picture to make that work. I'm just not going to do that right now tonight, but I will get that going. And even if I have to do another live tomorrow or whatever, I can make that happen. So I'm going to set it aside. Still got your board ready to go. Beautiful, beautiful board here. I've still got that. Oh, shoot. I almost tripped over my cord. I've still got that ready to go. Let's not trip over that. And so what we're going to do instead, for right now anyway, is flatten out this board on the CNC. So let me move some stuff off the CNC that doesn't need to be there. And I'll show you guys the process of flattening a board. So move a few things, make a pile somewhere else, because that's what I do, is just make piles everywhere. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Let me get this stuff going. Or where it needs to be anyway for the moment. I've been hooked on this stupid game on the Xbox that my son got me into. First it was, God, what was the name of the game? I can't remember now. It was a slot machine game. God, what the heck was the name of it? I can't remember. But now it's like a video poker game, where you can make adjustments essentially to the RNG or the luck in the game. And I'm trying to get 100% completion, get all the achievements on it. I 100% of the other game, and now with this one, I'm trying to make that happen. Anyway, I waste a lot of time on this stupid game. I'm still here, right? I hope so. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm showing up in video. A couple more things to move, and then we'll be ready to go. I probably should have had all this ready to go before I started tonight, but I didn't. And one thing I am going to do while I'm here tonight is lube up my, where did I put that? There we go. The linear rails on my CNC. So one important thing with a CNC like this is not to move any of the gantries when they're not under power. You can create feedback. And I mean, this is the same for a laser or anything else, really. But the stepper motors can create a feedback. It's counter electromotive force, and it can damage the circuitry. So anyway, I've got what did I do with? Oh, there we go. Hold on just a moment, guys. Okay. Yeah, you can do some damage to the circuitry. A little bit of a feedback loop, and it's never a good thing. So what they recommend doing, at least with this laser, is taking off the shoot, that didn't work. What did I do with my other? No, it's probably in the thing. They recommend taking the belts off before you lube it up, and I just haven't done that yet. Okay, let's see. Let's move that over here. Should probably move my camera as well so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, but it's not all that exciting at the moment. Let's see here. That'll work. Oh, I just need a shorter bolt. That might work. I got a box full of, yeah, that'll definitely work. I got a box full of bolts, full of hardware for the T-nuts and whatnot. Okay, that'll work. That must be what I dropped yesterday. Oh, yep, there it is right there. That was on the floor. Okay, found that. Cool. Option I have to say for PNG or JPEG. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can work with a PNG or a JPEG, just as long as it's not a screenshot, because then that just the image itself, and then I can work with that. All right, let us go to the CNC. Now it's going to get loud once I get this thing rolling. Oh, let me move that. I've got stuff in the way. I'm used to having this ring light here. I move the power cable for it. All right, so I got this piece I want to flatten out. I don't have to take much off of it. Probably 1/8 of an inch or so. The important thing, though, is making sure that it's locked in, so it's not going to move. So one of the things I have from Carbide, I bought a kit. It's got these, I think they call them tiger clamps. When I clamp it down, it actually pushes this movable piece towards the workpiece and keeps it in there nice and tight. I'm missing one. I probably dropped it somewhere or something. But I've got two already engaged on the workpiece there. So this one I'll clamp down. Tighten this down. I've got another one here, which is just like a slotted piece. Get that right up against the workpiece. Those are good for like low profile carves or whatnot. Tighten that down. Push right up against it. Tighten it down. This one's tightened down, and then I can tighten down a little tiger claw thing, which pushes against the workpiece and clamps it down. So that's not going anywhere. Cool. The next thing is going to be installing my flattening bit, which I need to find real quick. I had two of them. I've lost one. I don't know what I did with it. This one could probably use sharpening and cleaning up, but it'll work for this. One important thing to keep in mind when you're doing something like this is to go with the grain of the wood, right? If you go against it, it's going to leave tool marks a lot more noticeable than if you go with the grain of the wood. So that's definitely something I got to pay attention to as I'm doing this. And I need to find my Iowa wrenches. Here we go. So I've got a 13 millimeter that I actually took an angle grinder to and flattened out a bit or thinned out a bit. Because the tool that it comes with is like a stamped steel or stamped aluminum wrench. It really sucks. It's not really good for tightening the collet nut on there. And then I use a set of vice grips to really tighten that down. I probably should just have another wrench that's the right size, but ooh, do I have that? I think I do. I just bought a new wrench set. That might be the better option. I'm going to go grab that real quick. Hold on just a second. Email me both files. Okay, cool. I'll take a look at those in just a minute. Hold on a second. Run out to the car. Gracie, shut up. Shut it. Stupid dog. She's got to bark at everything. There's nothing to bark at. And yet she's still barking. Both of them are barking. Just for no reason whatsoever. While I'm out here, I'm going to grab my water bottle too. All right, let me grab my wrenches here. I think I might have the right wrench for collet nut. And then I can have those as a pair. Maybe I'll zip tie them together so they don't get lost. Grab my water bottle. Ooh, it's chilly out there tonight. It was really warm last night. Holy crap, was it warm. Tonight, not so much. Two that do the same. Okay. If two that. Oh yeah, you have two dogs that do the same thing. Yeah. So I picked up this set of wrenches just to do an oil change, which was an abject failure, by the way. Let's see here. 21. Not quite. Okay. Let's next size up. 22. Hey, 22 millimeters, the right size. Cool. Now I don't have to use vice grips anymore and destroy my collet nut. Awesome. And then I'm going to bring this to work tomorrow as a training aid for my students. I'm going to put that in my car real quick before I forget about it. And then, because I forgot to bring it to work today. Yeah, some of my students just have no idea what a combination wrench really looks like. We were talking about them in class the other day. All right, so let's see here. I got to plug in a CNC and unplug the laser. I can only have one plugged in at a time. Give me just a moment, and then we'll get this bad boy going. That gets unplugged. Did I just unplug the wrong thing? I think I did. I unplugged the wrong USB cable. What's going on here? Why is that not? Why is that not going? I don't know why it's not. Plug into my laptop here. Oh, there we go. Got it. All right. Now I've got it. All right. Okay. We are in business now. I gotta move this chair over the stool. Let's see if I can move the camera here. We can watch the CNC do its thing. All right, so we're going to turn that on. Should be on at this point. Yep. Okay, it's on. And I'm going to have to create a flattening file. All right, so I'm connected. Initialize it. Oh, thank God I don't have anything sitting on there. I usually have something sitting on the rails. All right, so let's load the tool. And then we'll mess with, I got to grease it or oil it. Now that I have the right wrenches, let's see if we got. That's right. Okay. Beautiful. One thing I don't like about this particular brand of CNC is that where it wants to load a tool is it tends to drop and then fall on the floor. I've broken a couple tools that way. All right, let's put this one in there. Tighten that up a little bit. You don't want to over tighten your tools. You can actually damage the collet that way. All right. Load new tool. I've inserted the tool. Now it's going to measure the tool. All right. Now we can go about oiling this thing up a little bit. I've wiped it down as best as I could. Hopefully you guys can see. What did I do with my... Oh, shoot. I put my... Put that there. Let's move that. Okay. Where did I put my little thing? Oh, there it is right there. God dang it. I got stuff falling everywhere. Jesus. Ugh. All right. So, I'm going to grab a little bit of oil. And we're just going to run that along the X and Y axes. Okay. Vector 3. Yeah, this is super exciting stuff for you guys. I may not even have a machine like this. But all I'm doing is just putting just a little bit of oil along the linear rails. I did wipe them down the other day. Probably could use another wipe, honestly. There's a port for the Z-axis as well. I just don't feel like I'm bolting that right now. I'm more concerned about the X and Y axis, honestly. Okay. It should be good. Now I will run the machine from corner to corner a couple times, and that should lubricate everything. So I'm going to jog it, rapid position to the other side. That runs it along both axes. I go to the other corner. And then if I come back to this corner, and then one more time. That should lubricate everything pretty good. All right. So now I need to create a file. To flatten this board. And I'll show you guys that. All right. So I'm going to take a measurement of this board. I'll do that, I guess, off camera here. Where am I at? Grab a tape measure. I need that piece. So this board is just over 14 inches. So we're going to call it 16 by 16. So we'll call it 16 by 18. I like to go an extra inch in either dimension because I'll show you guys why. When it's running the bit, it's better if it goes over than if it stops in the material and then turns, because then it leaves a burn mark. So 16 by 18. So let's see here. The width here is, actually, we're going to go 16.5. You know what? The width is, yeah, no, that's good. By 18 inches. And the thickness doesn't matter. Oh, shoot. I need to edit that again, because I want to use the bottom left corner as my 0, 0. So I've told it that down here in the bottom left corner is my XY0. So it's going to build the file based off of that. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and create a square or rectangle. And then in the toolpaths, hopefully you can see this, I'm going to do a pocket toolpath with that 1-inch bit. Cut depth of 0.125 inches. So 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to edit it to make sure that the pass depth is 0.125 inches. I can do the whole thing in one go. 200 inches per minute with a plunge rate of, we'll say, 50 inches per minute. That really doesn't matter for this file so much. And now my direction right now is showing left or right. So I want to go, whoops, go back to raster. We're going to go 0 degrees. Oops. I need to edit that. Make sure it looks right. Oops. It was 90 degrees. A profile path. Why is it not? Oh, I don't want to do that. Material color. It's going too fast. Okay. So it's going left to right now. It should not be doing that. Let's edit this, because it should raster 180 degrees, maybe. Now that's 45. Why is it not doing it? What? That's left to right. Up and down. I didn't actually hit enter. Okay, cool. So now I can preview the toolpath. It's going to go up and down. Let's reset the preview and preview again. Yep, it's going to go up and down. Okay, so that's the way I want it to go, is up and down. Fast forward through that. And let's pocket. And this should take 7 minutes. All right, so we're going to save this file now. Save it as, I'll just throw it on the desktop. I can delete this file later. All right, so that's saved. Oh, shoot. One thing I need to make sure I did, which is when you go to edit, job size, and position. All right, so is it Z0 to the material surface or the machine bed? I want it the material surface, so I'm going to set my Z0 to what I think is the highest point on the board, and then it's going to come down an 1/8 of an inch from there. I could also do it from the machine bed. If I measure the thickness of the board, it'll do the same thing, but from the machine bed is usually better if you're cutting through material instead of flattening a board. Just something to think about. So I have it to material surface. Okay, so now I have to set my zeros. So we're going to go back to watching the machine do its thing. There we go. And first I'm going to set my X and Y 0. So I'll run this over on the X. I think it's about right. The Y. So I want, essentially what I'm going to try to do is line it up, this 0, 0 point, to where the edge of the bit is just past this and just past here. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that's the goal of this. So that way when it's cutting, it cuts all the way down and past the board and then comes back and so on and so forth. And it just takes off. It never stops on the board. That's why I made the size of it about 1 inch bigger in each dimension. So I'm going to lower the Z down. And then, so my Y should be, that should be good right there. Let me take a look at the X. Down this board here. Actually, the X is pretty good. I'll go over 1 millimeter. So I'll set my X and Y 0. And now, let me raise up my Z just a little bit. And I'm going to move this to a spot that's in the middle of the board because that's the highest point, honestly. And then start lowering the Z down. And what I like to do is take like a receipt or something like that and do what some people call the feel test, or the pull test. All right, so I'm going to put this underneath the tool. Oh, shoot. There we go. And so I'm going to lower it down until it just snags a piece of paper. It's an easy way to set that to where you know it's just kissing the material. If it grabs it like it is now, I know I've gone too far, just a little bit too far. So I'll back it off 1, change my increment down to a smaller increment that it moves. Okay, it's not quite getting it yet. It's a little bit of just messing around with it until you get it just right. So I know I only have 1/4 of a millimeter left. So now I'm going down by by a lot less than that. All right, going just a little bit too far because it's snagging. With a V bit, or even my 1/4 inch downcut bit. There we go. So I can I feel a little bit of resistance here on the paper. So I know that's perfect. And so what I do now is I'm on my lowest increment. I go down 1. So 0.025 millimeters. I'm going to set that as my Z0. And for whatever reason, it measures it again. This is something new that the software does. So before I trust that it's correct, I'm going to go, I can jog it to Z plus 6 millimeters. Change my increment of change to 1 millimeter. Put my paper here again. Now this should snag it. So I go down 1, 2, 3. Oh, hit the wrong button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that should grab it. Yep, perfect. So I know that is 0 just the way I want it to be. And so now when I run this file, it's going to start from just touching this board, and it's going to go down 1/8 of an inch, cutting up and down along the grain. So it's that simple to set up a file on your CNC to flatten a board. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run the file. Let's see here. Run. Load new file. It's going to go through a it's going to measure the tool. It's going to go back to the little thing. It's going to say, hey, load your tool up. All right, well, I've already got my tool loaded. Resume. It's going to go down and measure. A little button that it hits. And then I'll put my dust boot on there, which, oh, I actually have that set perfectly. It's going to go to the 0, and then it's going to tell me to turn it on before it starts the file. So it's going to get loud. I might have to make some adjustments as I go. We'll see once it actually starts cutting. Next pass. Should start cutting, I think. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, it sounds good. My X or my 0 for the Y was a little bit off, but that's all right. Just going to get rid of all those tool marks that were on the top of that board, the top face of that board. I'm just going to leave it pretty flat. A little bit of sanding that I'll have to do. It's not perfectly trimmed. So this is something you can do with a router and a sled. You can make your own flattening jig. It's essentially the same thing. You're just doing it by hand instead of by computer. So if you have slabs that you ever need to flatten out, this is the way you can do it. And that's it. Turn that off, and then let's suck up some of these chips here. Chips are good, sawdust's bad. Not going to get everything, but it's most of it. And there's some tool marks here because it's not perfectly trammed. It's tilted just like a tenth of a degree, but the sanding will take care of that. So, and I got your file much better. I can work with that. Let's see here. So I turned off the spindle. That's going to raise up and go back to the 0, and then sort of back to a home position. All right, let's get that out of there. Do I have anything caught up in there? A little bit. Not too bad. Okay, so now I just got to swap this around, flip this over, and let me take some of this bark off. That's coming off anyway, eventually. Better off with a chisel for that. So now I'm going to flip it over, and the other side is narrower, so it should even work better. But I take off just the bottom bit of this, then I can flip it over. Oh, it's not square there, so I'm going to have to loosen this a little bit. Okay. Make sure that's on there. Good. Should be. I'm going to move over to the right just a hair. Tighten that down. Tighten that down. Now I have to change my Z0, because I came down 1/8 of an inch. Tighten that. And verify that's not going to go anywhere. Okay, cool. So let's move this. We'll take off the dust boot. And then we're going to yog it to the middle again. Now 1/8 of an inch is like 3 millimeters. So we're going to wrap it to Z+6. If we go down 9, that should be perfect. The bottom is pretty flat, so we're going to go ahead and set the Z0 there. Hey, what's up, Jack? If you can't feel the lines, just increase the step over. You can, yeah, I can change the step over. I like to do a wide step over when I'm doing a flattening because I can just sand out the lines with some 60 or 80 grit. I do a 40% step over, which is pretty aggressive, but I really need to tram it is what I need to do. It just needs a very minor adjustment. It's not too bad. So now that I've zeroed that out, I can go ahead and I'm going to reload the file. I've had an issue where I've tried to run the same file where it doesn't redo the 0. So I just load the same file over again, start the job, start. It's going to go measure the tool, even though it just did that. And then we'll run it again. So put that on there, put my suction on there. Turn on the suction. And we'll go to town again. And one thing I like about carbide motion is I can increase the speed. So I've got it increased to 200% for where it's cutting over air, and then I can reset the feed rate back down once it actually starts cutting the workpiece. Saves a little bit of time putting on the file. So I'm going to turn that feed rate down a bit because that's really cutting into that. But I'm making chips, so that's good. Chips, always better than sawdust. So the speed is set, well, it's set to a 3. I don't remember what the speed is for that. I have a tachometer. I just know it's more my feel than anything else, and sound. So I know it's set right. And I've done enough work on this that I know for different types of wood what the right speed is. Yeah, I mean, the router doesn't really matter. This is the one that came with the machine. It's by Carbide. I think it's like a DeWalt clone, because a lot of people end up replacing theirs with a DeWalt over time. I'm actually going to slow this down a little bit more. So I'm now at 50% of the feed rate that I had set the file to. Yeah, that sounds better. So it was a little bit off on the y-axis as far as the depth. It's cutting a little bit deeper at the top of the board than it is the bottom of the board. So what I don't want to do is get that bit to stop. I've had that happen before. That's bad. So that's just slowing it down a little bit, or increasing the speed, or changing the speed of the router itself. Hey, no problem. Woodshed. Oh, that was earlier. 200 hours give me somewhere between 6,000 and 9,000 RPM. Yeah. I can't remember what it is. I want to say it's 12,000, but it sounds a little low for that. Oh, that sucks. All right, we're almost done. All right, all done. So all of 20 minutes to flatten this board, or mostly flatten it anyway. I actually should have left that on. Let me throw that back on for a second. So the important thing when doing any kind of carving is you want to see chips and not sawdust. Chips mean heat disposition or heat dissipation. There's the right word. Sawdust is less heat. Where's the word? I just had it. Dissipation. There we go. So if you're getting a lot of sawdust and not a lot of chips, that means you're just heating your tool up. It's not ideal. All right, we can turn that off. Get rid of some of the noise, and now I'm going to sand to make more noise. It is a pretty cool tool. Caught on fire. Oh, jeez. Yeah, exactly. So if you're just getting sawdust, you're just overheating that tool, and it'll damage it over time. Let me see here. Let me run this back to. I'll go to my 0, and then move back. And she's done. Okay. Now I'm going to leave it locked in there, locked into place. And I'm going to turn my heat off. I don't need that at the moment. Like it's chilly, but it's not too cold that I can't work. And I'm going to start sanding this down and getting it looking nice and pretty. So we'll start with some 60. We'll move up to some 80. Let's see what I got here. I got some 60 there. Sorry, I got a whole. I'll just grab the whole stack and bring it over because why not? So this was my Amazon haul find. I paid like $1 for this whole stack of sandpaper, sanding discs. Some 120. I got 60. 60 there. That should stick. It's all 60. Some 220. Oops. What's that? That's 120. I'll end up using that. It's more 60. 120. 320. No, I'm not going to go to 320 tonight. All right, so there's some 80. In case you didn't know the rule of thumb, 120. Do I have 220? I have 220 in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure. 320 is to go up 50% of the grit at the most. Oh, I had 120 in there. Okay. But I don't have any 180 in this stack, so I'm going to jump from 120 to 220, which I don't think I have 180. $220. Yeah. That should be fine. Is that all 8? That's all 80. Okay. Put that back over there. Ooh. So generally that's what you want to do is go up 50% of the grit each time, but it's not like a hard and fast rule. Especially once you get to some of the finer grits, like you're not really going to notice. If you're, am I plugged in? I am not. Let's plug in. kind of a general rule of thumb. All right. So let us. Oh, I should be wearing a mask for this. This is walnut. This will really wreck you. I have no idea where my mask went. Where did I put my mask? Well, I guess I'm breathing in some walnut tonight. What did I do with it? I don't know what I did with it. That'll be fine. Oh, nice. You got the 3M sanding stuff. All right, so I usually do a couple passes. I still have some burn marks and things on here, so at this point is where I'm going to grab my pencil. Where did I put my pencil? I have 2 in my car. I should have 1 around here somewhere. Check the drawer. Oh, no, there's 1 right there. Let's close that out. Actually, I can turn this off. I don't need the CNC on anymore. Close all this out. Don't want to save that. Yeah, so check Amazon haul. I see the sanding discs on there all the time. So just run a light line with my pencil. That tells me whether or not I'm staying even. All right, I still have a couple light burn marks on here, but I think that'll come out as I move up the grits. So I'm ready to swap out. Go from my 60 to my 80 grit. Pencil it again. And go to 10. Oh yeah, so if you have Amazon Prime, log into Amazon And at the top of the screen, where gives you all the different options for things, it'll say HAL, HAUL. You go there, and every day, sometimes even several times a day, they have these ridiculously discounted items. And they usually have some sort of tool on there, and I see sandpaper on there a lot, especially sanding discs. That's where I got these from. And I mean, sometimes you can get stuff for a penny. It's crazy. Now you have to pay for shipping if you don't buy at least $25 worth of stuff. And heck, even if I had to pay shipping on a box of sanding, 100 sanding discs, that cost me a penny or even $1, it's still going to be less than whatever I pay for Lowe's or Harbor Freight or anywhere else. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I know it's very loud. Okay, cool. So now those burn marks are gone and my pencil marks are gone. These subsequent layers end up being a lot quicker. Now, there are a lot of bug holes in this particular board, so I'm going to have to fill all that with glue. And I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. I'm probably doing this in the least efficient way possible by sanding it down to 220 first and then doing that. But I like to make sure I can get rid of all my burn marks and stuff before I go ahead and fill holes. And I will do a final pass at 320. Just probably not tonight. It's getting pretty late. But once you get to the 220 grit, if you're going to go up to a 320, basically before you get to your last sanding, or even you can do one pass on that last sanding bit, take a damp cloth, just dampen the wood. It raises up the fibers. Then you do a final pass on your whatever your final grit is, and it'll knock those fibers out, make it even smoother. It's amazing how smooth this can get. And maybe I'll get on the live tomorrow. It depends on when I get back to working on this thing. I'm finishing it up either tomorrow or Friday. But I'll show you guys on my granite countertops. Just sanding it this way, it's so flat after flattening it with the CNC and then sanding it a bit that it'll actually stick to the countertop. It's crazy. It's wild. But I do want to fill in these little bug holes here. I'll show you guys how I do that. I mean, you guys probably already know these methods, but heck, maybe there's somebody watching right now that doesn't know and can learn something. I mean, that's what this channel is all about, is making stuff and learning stuff, right? I don't even know how many people I still have on here right now. 4 people. From your business. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the business accounts doesn't show Amazon Haul. So I get this stick fast. This is also something I get off of Amazon, stick fast. I like the thick and the medium. This one is thick, I think. No, this is medium. But stick fast. You can get this nice big ass bottle. It's 4.5 ounces. This lasts quite a long time. And just put a dab in each hole so it fills those holes. And then once I get a little bit of CA glue in each hole, then I'll hit it with the activator to solidify it, to dry it real quick, or cure it. Not really drying it. And sometimes, even with some of these little holes, you have to do it twice. I like to give it a moment to set in there. So hopefully I don't have to do it twice. Just give it a moment. And then I use this miter Appel AC400 activator. Again, I get this off of Amazon. The both of these combined, I don't remember how much it cost me, but it's way cheaper than anything you can get locally. So hit it with a little bit of activator to immediately cure that that glue. I still have a couple little holes there, so I'm gonna have to hit it again. That happens. Just trying to backfill these holes with some CA glue. And then we'll sand it down again. Get nice and flat. So those little bug holes weren't visible before I hit it with the CNC. When you're using, raw lumber like this, that can happen. So let that dry real quick, and then hit it with the sander again. And that'll probably be it for tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do the back side of it tonight. It's getting kind of late. But we, in about an hour, you can basically flatten out a board and have it ready to go. Now, if this wasn't a cutting board, I would actually leave the bark on there and maybe even hit it with some resin to kind of solidify it. But since it is a cutting board, I don't want to leave that bark on there. Although it would look kind of cool. Interesting. So I'm checking out a couple things while wow. Oh, politics, politics, politics. All right, let's see here. So let's go ahead and sand this down. It looks to be fairly dry at this point. I'm going to go back to the 120 grit. That's usually aggressive enough. Yeah, politics kind of is a dirty word. So I'm really not getting what I want, so I'm going to go a little bit slower.
laser. Here, cut the spots and then the blue visible. This is the worst part about it. You really just want to speed up, but maintaining a consistent speed is important to keep it the same thickness across the board.
All right. So there's still a couple little holes here that didn't quite fill all the way. I know that there's glue inside those holes, so I'm not worried about them right now. And I am going to put board butter on here as well. I might end up adding a little bit more glue later on. And the only reason I care is because, well, if it's used as a cutting board, bacteria and things can get inside those holes. So I will come back through probably before I'm finished with this and fill those couple little holes again. But I want to get to the back side of this. Not tonight. Before I do the other side of this, though, I am going to chisel off the bark. Let me grab my chisel. Excuse me. Oi. I apologize. So let me grab my chisel here, the sharpest one. And I don't have a mallet at the moment. I don't know where I put it. Thank you. But I have a hammer. That's good enough. So I'm just going to try to peel off this bark as best as possible. And before I do the backside tomorrow, hey, most of that came off in one. I love it. I should actually save that, but I'm not going to. I don't have any boards that have big gaps in them where I can fill it and throw some bark in there and make it look cool. But anyway, I'll end up sanding this with the 80 grit. And then pulling off all the last little bits of bark. This is a fairly sharp chisel, so I can get most of this stuff off of here. And then just sand it down to finish it off. Thank you to Mike is Making Stuff for showing me how to sharpen a chisel and get a nice sharpening kit. go back and get some more of my chisel sharpened. But that takes off most of it. There is like this layer of like bark but not bark. That's what I try to get down to where it's dark still. So then when I sand, it takes off just that last little bit. It still ends up being just a little bit darker than the rest of the wood. I think it just kind of looks cool. So I think I'm just about there on most of this. And I'll get the suction going and get most of this stuff gone. Last little remnants here. Probably shouldn't be doing that towards my arm or my wrist. I have bad form when it comes to using sharp tools like that. Haven't cut myself yet, but I know it's going to happen one of these days. Okay, so that's most of it gone there. Let's check the other side. This side is mostly stripped. So I won't even need the hammer. Let's just use the chisel for this. Pull this stuff off. And this is going to be nice and purty when it's all done. Should have this done the next day or so and out in the mail. And everybody else's stuff should be getting to them soon. Exciting. Then I can get back to giving stuff away and hopefully getting things done and getting them out to people on time. Trying to make it so if I ever get monetized, I can do some giveaways. I'm always going to take and let the people that show up to my lives get a free entry. But I will let some people pay for additional entries. And anywho, I'd like to be consistent with getting stuff out. I know I'm waiting on something from somebody else I paid a lot of money for. $200-300. I don't remember what it was overall in entries. And I still haven't seen it. Okay, let me kick on the section here. I'm going to have to pull the piping off of there, and I'm pretty sure that's got a clog. But not too shabby for tonight. It's looking pretty good. A couple little holes still. And the back side has got some interesting little weird knots and holes. But I will finish that up tomorrow. And I can get that out. So, thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, I got let me fix the camera here. Yeah. So everything is out in the mail at this point. So it should be getting to people soon. And then we'll do some more giveaways. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. It's hopefully that you'll learn something. If you maybe don't have a CNC, maybe it's enticed you to start looking at one, or at least making a router sled to flatten boards or whatever, or maybe you picked up a tip here and there, or just had a good time hanging out. So thank you, everybody, and I will see you on the next one. So I plan on either tomorrow or Friday, probably getting on and finishing this up. And then Saturday, I'll do a scrapper day, and we'll see what we can make out of the scraps I have here. And long weekend this weekend. I might come on Sunday or Monday. There's no football or anything, no band stuff. I do have to start working on figuring out the band props and really getting going on that. So I might be doing some computer work with designing. We'll see. But anyway, I'll be on here this weekend once or twice and hang out with you all. So thank you all, and I will see you on the next one. And as always, go make something.